Good evening. I will go ahead and open, no, I won't either. Before I do that, in closed session, the council authorized the city administrator to execute agreement for purchase of property at 852 Mono Way in a final form deemed appropriate by the city administrator by unanimous vote. Additionally, the council denied the claim of Ryan Hodge by unanimous vote with Councilmember Hawkins absent. I will adjourn the closed session at this time, and I will open the City Council meeting of March the 20th. And the first order of business is to stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Council members: Connie Williams.
Here.
Jim Garamendi.
Here.
Matt Hawkins.
Here.
Mark Clemmer.
Here.
George Severini.
Here.
The city clerk is here. Administrator Tim Miller.
Here.
Our interim city engineer is absent. Attorney Douglas White.
Here.
Administrative Services Director Jennifer Callaway. Here. Fire Chief Amy New. Here. Interim Police Chief Michael Parton. I believe we have Tiru in his stead.
Here.
Thank you. And Community Development Director Rochelle Callaway.
She is absent.
Okay. City Clerk's report on agenda posting.
At 11:45 a.m. on the 17th day of March 2017, the agenda for this meeting was posted outside City Hall for public view.
Item C is approval of the agenda. Is there anything that needs to be added or removed?
Madam Mayor, I would like to have item D, which should be 4, of the agenda, the City of Sonora Employee Service Awards, moved to your next meeting.
All right. And does the council need to approve that change?
I think you should.
Yeah, part of the motion to approve the agenda.
Okay, we need a motion to approve the agenda with the removal of item number 4.
So moved.
Any other discussion by the council? Any public?
Were the recipients notified?
Just the, as far as I know, they were, yes. Rochelle's absent, and there was some issues in the other certificates that have to be rectified.
Okay, any public comment? Then I'll bring it back to the council for a vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Item D is presentations, and I would assume you want to take this in order 1, 2, and 3, starting with 1. Presentations is number 1, introduction and badge pinning of police explorers Daniel Hamilton, Kennedy Brockett, Theodore Walker.
Ms. Mayor, City Council, there is no action required on this presentation. A little on the background, the Sonora Police Department Post 364 accepts new explorers throughout the year. Once they pass their 6-month probation period, then they're eligible to be pinned, and that's why we're here tonight. The following explorers have completed their probation period and are eligible to receive their badge: Danny Hamilton, Kennedy Brockett, Theodore Walker. Unfortunately, Kennedy Brockett could not make it tonight. She has a school event, and she not get out of it. So our first one, Danny. Daniel Hamilton. Danny is, stand over here in front of me. Danny is 20 years old, lives in Tuolumne County. He graduated from Somerville Union High School. His goal is to become a police officer and work in the county. He first became interested in law enforcement in his 8th grade class when an Air Force recruiter came and talked about being military police. During his high school, he became more interested in law enforcement, and a friend told him about the Explorer post. And he joined us about 6-7 months ago. Okay. He wants to go on to the police academy, then come back and work in the Tuolumne County. So, okay, just stand up. Theodore Walker. TJ is 15 years old, lives in Jamestown. He is a sophomore at Sonora High School. His hobbies are baseball, basketball, and riding a bike. He enjoys playing sports with his friends. He became interested in law enforcement when he was 10 years old. He wants to make a difference in his community, so that's why he's proceeding on a job in law enforcement. Could I please have the parents that's going to pin him? Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support, obey, bear truth, faith, and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the City of Sonora, the Constitution of the State of California. I will obey the bylaws of the Boy Scouts of America. I take this obligation freely, without mental reservation or purpose of evasion. That I will faithfully discharge the duties of which I am about to enter. Grandpa, you can pin that on him. Dad, you can pin that on him. If you draw a little blood, that's okay. City Council, thank you very much.
Thank you. Your first step into the area of law enforcement. Congratulations. I'd like to ask, will Ms. Brockett be able to come at another time? I would love for everybody to hear her story.
Ms. Brockett will be here probably in 3 months. I have another candidate that'll be badged in about 3 months, so we'll set it up and we'll do both at the same time.
Okay, great. Okay, the item number 2 is Firefighter of the Year Awards, which will be Fire Chief Amy New, career category, Fire Engineer Patrick Kerrigan, part-time category, Firefighter Trevor Mayo Corrala, intern category, and Firefighter Dustin Woodson, volunteer category.
I am dropping things. Good evening, Madam Mayor, council members, member of the public. Tonight's request requires no action on this item. The City Fire Department would like to present our 2016 Firefighters of the Year recipients to the council and the public. The Fire Department began presenting this perpetual Firefighter of the Year award back in the 1980s and continues to recognize those who have dedicated their time and their efforts to the betterment of the department and the community. In an effort to share our acknowledgements of superior performance, we'd like to announce that this year's award recipients are the following, which is firefighter Dustin Woodson in the voluntary category, firefighter Trevor Mayo Corralo in the intern category. Trevor, is he back there? Unavailable at this time. Fire engineer Patrick Kerrigan in the part-time category, and myself was nominated and awarded the career category. During our selection process, personnel in each category are evaluated for dedication, productivity, cooperation, team building, and development within our organization. The nominations are submitted by members. Submitted by members of the department, and they're voted on by their peers. So I just want to congratulate all the recipients, and the first one will be to Dustin Woodson for the volunteer category. Thank you so much for all your time. The second is our firefighter intern category, which is Trevor Mayo Corralo. And I don't think Patrick was able to make it tonight, so we will keep this award for him. But Patrick works also at another organization in Tuolumne County, so he is very dedicated to the fire service in Tuolumne County, so we thank him for all of his efforts.
Good evening. Last but not least is the career person who has won the award this year. Very well deserved. All of the candidates were very well deserved and did a good job. Just had to make one little side note about Chief New. A couple weeks ago, she was pinning a badge on our newest captain and commented about how the fact that he was born the same time that she graduated from high school. Well, an interesting fact about that is that Chief New was born about 3 months before I graduated from high school. Just had to bring that up. Anyway, Chief New, congratulations.
Thank you. And thank you to all the members of our department. This means a lot to me, so thank you very much.
And item number 3 is the Police Department Employee of the Year Awards. Go to Officer John Bowley, Officer of the Year, Officer Dennis Townsend, Reserve Officer of the Year, CSO Shar Logan, Civilian Employee of the Year, CSV Robbie Roberts, Community Service Volunteer of the Year, and Explorer Victor Battle, Ronald Billings II, Explorer of the Year. And we'll have Lieutenant Vanderwill up here to present the awards.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Honorable Council, ladies and gentlemen of our wonderful public. Chief Harden couldn't be here tonight, but it is my pleasure to announce the recipients of this year's Employee of the Year Awards for our police department. Honorable Council, there is no action required on this item. Each year, the police department's leadership gets together to recognize our employees in different categories. These employees were selected based on their contributions to the community, based on their dedication to the department, their hardworking attitude, their morals, and citizenship. So it takes a while to, we have a small department, we don't have a whole lot of people, and we have a lot of great folks. So to decide which people stand out the most, it's actually quite a task. So let me start off. Did Officer Bowley make it here?
Yes.
Okay. Officer John Bowley, he happens to be on a call. Right as we were coming up here, we had a couple priority calls come out. He was scheduled to be here to receive the Officer of the Year Award. So I'll talk about John Bowley, and we'll just go ahead and we can have his sergeant accept the award for him. John has been employed with the City of Sonora as a full-time officer since 2002. He's a senior officer in patrol, and he accepts the fact that he's looked at as a leader. He's a junior leader within the department. He has a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience, and people look to him for questions and guidance. One thing about John is he'll routinely take additional steps to follow up on his cases, and he's proven time and time again to be an advocate for victims. I think that's particularly important because when you take the extra step, take a few extra procedures to investigate a crime, you're doing it for the victims of the community. You're not just going through the motions, taking the call, taking the report. A couple cases this year, John actually took DNA evidence and had it sent off to the lab. One of them was kind of a long shot, but he ended up getting a match, and we made an arrest. We made a couple arrests off of DNA evidence that John collected. And not many officers do that these days. It's usually set aside for crime scene investigation units. Small departments, we don't have that. So we kind of rely on officers like John to go that extra mile and take those tests and send them off. So every once in a while we get lucky with fingerprints and DNA. His work is consistently precise and timely. His report documentation skills are among the best in the department. He maintains good community relationships and has been the subject of several positive comments from the community. John's hard work, dependability, and dedication epitomizes the type of officer worthy of this recognition, as he exemplifies the professionalism and customer service values of our department. Also, John will be recognized later tomorrow evening by the American Legion Post 58 during their Law and Order dinner. So if this is John's certificate, he will also be recognized on a plaque in our lobby for all visitors to see. Next up, Reserve Officer Dennis Townsend also could not be here. He's actually out of state today. But we have accepting his recognition is Dennis's daughter, Ashley Brandow, if he could stand up. Ashley, like her father, is also dedicated to the profession, and we're glad to have her. She's been a community service volunteer for 8 months.
About 5 months.
5 months?
About 5.
Okay, feels like 8. I'm kidding. But no, she's great. She's a lot like her father. So I'll talk about Dennis a little bit. Dennis is a retired Cal Fire Battalion Chief. He's been with the department for 17 years now. He has volunteered as a reserve for our department for most of this time, and in 2015 he was moved to part-time paid status due to our personnel shortages. He is currently assigned to 2 shifts per week and helps out on countless occasions for supplement staffing needs, volunteering to work vacation relief and many holidays such as Christmas to allow other officers time with their families. Dennis is also one of the department's fire investigators and brings a wealth of knowledge in that field of expertise. He is a guide and mentor to fellow officers and other departments or members as well. Dennis is active in his community through his church, and he is a hobbyist prospector and outdoorsman. His talents, knowledge, and skills make him a valuable asset to the community as well as the police department. He too will have his name on a plaque in our lobby.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Community Service Officer Char Logan. I know, I've seen you. There she is. Char has been a community service officer for the Sonora Police Department for over 14 years. She did have a brief break in service a few years back, but we're thrilled to have her back. Char's primary duties include animal control and vehicle abatement, but she's been a great help to the department's mission in other areas such as investigations of larcenies and vandalism reports, working traffic control, and serving subpoenas. She also helps on non-injury traffic collisions and provides relief to patrol. She's quick to volunteer for additional assignments such as DUI checkpoints and supervising explorers during community events. Shar also volunteered her time to participate in the 2016 Shop with a Cop event, and she agreed to give a community presentation on animal safety during our department's 2016 National Night Out. Shar is truly dedicated to her job in the police department. For that, she has earned the Civilian Employee of the Year. Her name will also be in a plaque in our lobby. Next up, Robbie Roberts. Last name may sound familiar. He's our community service volunteer, CSV, formerly our PACT. Robbie is a full-time dispatcher for the Tuolumne County Sheriff's Department. He joined the Sonora Police volunteer program after spending 10 years as a police explorer with our department. He has donated, He has donated over 1,000 hours as a community service volunteer in the past year alone. That is pretty significant. I don't know if any of you try to get your kids to volunteer for anything. I can't. So that's huge, and thank you for that. Robbie often assists officers with their duties in the field and in the office. He works as a trainer for the new CSVs, Community Service Volunteers, as well as for the Explorer program. Robbie can often be counted on at all hours of the day and night to assist us when we ask. He continues to have a major role in the Explorer program, where, as an Explorer advisor, he acts as a role model, trainer, and mentor. Through his hard work and dedication, Robbie exemplifies the Sonora Police Department's community service values and traditions, and has earned the Community Service Volunteer of the Year award. Thank you, Robbie. Our final award is what is formerly known as the Explorer of the Year award. This year, we have renamed it to the Ronald Billings II Explorer of the Year award. And if I may, I'd take a minute to explain that. Just a few months ago, retired Sonora police officer John Mauger, probably needs very little introduction, Big John. He approached me with an idea. He wanted to rename the Explorer of the Year award after one of our previous explorers, Ronald Billings II. After looking into it a bit, talking to some prior supervisors of Mr. Billings, I couldn't think of a better person to name this award after. Ronald Billings II was a Sonora police explorer from the ages of 16 to 19. He had a lifelong dream to become a police officer. But in 2012, he died tragically during a work-related accident at SPI Mill. He was only 25 at the time. Ronald Billings had a lifelong dream of becoming a police officer. He was a resident of Sonora for all his life. He attended Motherlode Christian School and graduated from Cornerstone Christian School in 2005. He played drums for his church band, and he enjoyed the outdoors. As a police explorer, Ronald always presented a highly professional appearance in his uniform, and it was well known that he possessed all the attributes of a good police officer, both professionally and in his personal life. Those who knew him spoke very highly of his character. We are honored to dedicate this award to Ronald Billings, and even more honored to have been a part of this young man's life. We have the plaque here, if anyone can see it. It's renamed the Ronald Billings II Explorer of the Year Award. And I'd also like to recognize Ronald's parents. They're in the audience tonight, Michelle and Ron. And Ron over there by the entrance. Thank you so much for being here. It is an honor to meet you. The first time I met them was tonight, but they are well known to some of our, actually Sergeant Glenn Roberts and also Sergeant Tim Wirtz knew them previously. So it's an honor to meet you as well. So now on to the award itself. This year's recipient, where are you at? Stand up, Mr. Battle. All right. Victor Battle has the honor of being the first recipient of the Ronald Billings II Explorer of the Year Award. So he'll be the first name on the plaque for all to see. Victor joined the Sonora Police Department in 2013. He is currently attending Columbia College. He works hard to prove himself over the past few years and achieved the status of training officer for the Explorer program. Got the little pin on his shirt. They don't just give those out from what I hear, right? So he's a hardworking guy. I've known him for a few years, very proud to have him. He's volunteered many hours to the community through the Explorer program, and he can almost always be counted on when we call to ask him to help out. He's always helping new explorers with equipment and teaching them the basic law enforcement skills. He takes great pride in his uniform, as you can see, and he's particularly talented at shining shoes. He always presents a very professional appearance. So it may surprise you that he plans on becoming a U.S. Marine in the next few years. And as such, he challenges other explorers to push-up competitions, I understand. You too come victim to that? Okay. Each year during the annual Explorer competition, Victor participates in the physical agility obstacle course where he's consistently among the top competitors. He has a positive attitude that is infectious to others, and he keeps everyone laughing with his Arnold Schwarzenegger impressions.
Your son? Oh, great. I have to, okay. To the microphone. What do you want to hear? Just your normal. Okay, fine. Let's go on with your words. Go.
Outstanding. In addition to all this, Victor was also instrumental during the preparation and execution of our 2016 National Night Out celebration. We are proud of this young man, and we are proud that he represents both our community, our department, and our city. That is all I have for now.
Okay. Well, I think I can speak for the whole council that we're very proud of each and every one of you that have received awards this evening, and thank you very much for your service in every aspect of what you do for this wonderful city that we live in and for staff and the council.
Thank you.
Got him trained.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. So we'll go ahead and move on to item E on the agenda, which is public comment for non-agenda items. The public may address the council on any item of public interest not otherwise on the agenda that is within the jurisdiction of the city. No action may be taken. Matters to be addressed may be referred to city staff or placed on a subsequent meeting agenda.
Hey, I'll hear it.
Speakers are limited to a 5-minute presentation, and it looks like we have someone at the podium.
While everybody
So we'll move
leaves.
forward.
I was really excited. We picked up our posters for our last movie night. We have 2 movie nights left. The next one is April 13th, which will be the Royal Tenenbaums. And then the one in May, which is what this poster is for, is going to be High Noon, which will be really fun for people to come to. And we're going to have a barbecue set up for people to eat dinner before the movie starts, and our popcorn and beer and wine. So just wanted to call attention to that.
So the barbecue will be for the High Noon
Yes.
movie.
Yes.
All right.
So mark your calendars. Thank you.
All right. And this is the second Thursday,
Second Thursday midnight. Goes right before
the second Saturday.
rodeo and Mother's Day, big weekend.
Okay, great. Any other public comment? Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm Steve Stiles. I own the property at 16 and a half Ash, which is at the end of Yaney Street. And the property I have, the garage, is below street level at the point where it makes it very difficult to park a car inside there because the incline is so steep. And the property's been using the end of Yaney Street for the past 15 years. And I'd like to know if we could ask the city if they put it on the agenda to abandon interest in the property so it could be put up for sale to the adjoining properties. Possibly I'd like to put a parking structure there so I can park vehicles. I have a duplex, and Ash Street is a very narrow street at that part of town. So
Okay.
I'd like to, it's Oliver Block 5, Oliver Edition Block 5.
Okay. So, Mr. Miller, the process that...
I suggested to Mr. Stiles when he was here at the last meeting to submit a letter to the city that we could bring forward for discussion. So my advice would be the same.
Okay. So, did you hear what Mr. Miller said?
To submit a letter.
Yes. A letter of request?
A letter of request?
A letter of request of what you want to do, and then it can go through the proper channels to, through staff to see if in fact it can be done.
Okay, so handwrite a letter and bring it into the office? Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah.
Yes.
All righty, thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other public comment? Seeing none, we'll move on to the consent calendar. Items on the consent calendar are considered routine and will be voted on in one motion unless a council member or member of the public has a question or wishes to discuss an item. In that case, the item will be removed from the consent calendar and considered separately. Item number 1 is to approve the following meeting minutes. City Council closed session meeting of March the 6th, 2017. City Council open session meeting of March 6th, 2017. Item number 2 is approval to pay invoices of previously budgeted expenses on March the 21st, 2017. And item number 3 is approval of disbursements in the amount of $145,989.71 on March the 17th, 2017 for payroll, inclusive of employee salaries, employer and employee taxes and retirement contributions, and miscellaneous voluntary employee deductions.
Move to approve. Second.
Any other discussion? Any public comment? Then I'll bring it back to the council for a vote. All in favor? Aye. Passes unanimously. Item G is public hearings, which this evening we have none. Item H is unfinished business, which we have none. So we will move on to item I, new business. Item number 1 is consideration to approve a request from the Sonora Chamber to allow the possession and consumption of alcohol at Caulfield Park for the second Saturday concert series to be held on June 10th, August 12th, September the 9th, and October the 14th.
Yes, Madam Mayor, members of the council and the public, this request comes from the Sonora Chamber. It's to schedule at Caulfield Park the opportunity for their concert series and allow the possession and consumption of alcohol. As the council may recall, there was an amendment made to ordinance, city ordinance, to allow by council approval of alcohol use in park facilities. So this would be, with your approval, it would be permitted for the 4 days that have been identified. The events would occur from 8 to 10. There would be setup time from 6 to 8 and cleanup time from 10 to 11 on each of those days. The second Saturday group has conducted events down there without any incident. There is a special event permit application that's been circulated for approval concurrent with your approval of the alcohol consumption. There aren't any issues or objections to its use for this purpose. So staff is recommending, subject to the conditions identified in the staff report, that an ABC license be obtained, police department approval, is a part of that process. They provide the required liability insurance and executing an indemnification agreement and staff the entrance-exit locations that it would be appropriate to allow this activity.
Okay. And it looks like we have Ms. Sarno here from the Sonora Chamber.
Yes, good evening. I just wanted to say that it'll just be beer, wine, and indigeny, so not that I know it's still alcohol, but it isn't going to be hard alcohol. And we always are, I think the Chamber excels at the ability to dispense those type of beverages with all the controls of checking IDs. We would have people at each end of the park so that, you know, they do not leave with any open containers or any of the alcohol, and it would be all contained. We wouldn't overserve anybody, or we always are very diligent with making sure that we are legal.
Okay. Any questions by the council?
I've got one. Will you be asking for volunteers during this time?
Yes, we will.
And I would like to be the first to volunteer.
Well, thank you, Matt. You're an excellent volunteer.
I have
Along
to,
with Jim. Yes.
I was going to say, I have to brag a little bit on the Chamber. Every year they do, it's the All Hallows.
And Celtic.
Yes, and the Celtic Fair. And they do a great job. And Shirley and Brian Adcox are very much sticklers on making sure everything is going very correctly. Very correctly. So I would encourage other council members to volunteer also, because it only makes our city do better. So that's as far as I'll go. Jim, I don't know if you want to say anything.
Ditto.
Surely the ABC license requires that the consumption take place strictly within the confines of the college park, right?
Yes, no, we're very much aware of that.
So now that we're all on TV, all of us have to go ahead and volunteer. I'll volunteer myself and the other two council members.
Okay, that's wonderful. Yes.
So now you've got all kinds of help. Okay, I need a motion.
I'll move approval of the college park.
I'll second it.
Any other comments or questions?
I just wanted an opportunity to say thank you for doing this, because it's a wonderful addition to our social circle and events that we have in the summer.
Well, thank you, and we hope to keep this up. This is our first year as with the movies and with the concerts, so hopefully we just keep growing.
Any public comment?
Okay, you have to move. Oh, thank you. Sorry. I just want to also echo what Mr. Hawkins said, because I've seen Shirley in action, and she runs a very tight ship, and I've never seen any problems with alcohol sales, consumption, or possession, as I have with some other. Anyway, so I would concur. The only thing I would like to suggest is I would like to see better recycling of some of the containers. And I have the 6 cents for you that I got for the wine bottles at the Celtic Fair. Okay. Thank you.
Do you have recycling capability when you're when you have an event? Do you have containers?
Some of our volunteers sort of step forward and take care of that, but we could probably talk to Waste Management. They'd probably be happy to get us some containers for the events.
Well, the county has the capability. They've got some portable recycle containers.
Okay.
That if you go up to the 3rd floor, there's the solid waste department. They have those. I don't know if they charge for them or if they hand them out or what, but it's an opportunity that if you would like to have a container, you might want to look into that.
Okay, we'll look into that.
Okay.
Floor, Francisco, right?
The Francisco building, yes. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Okay. Any other public comment? Then I'll bring it back to the council for a vote. All in favor? Aye. Passes unanimously. And also, I want to say thank you to the Sonora Chamber. The things that you all have been doing for years has really made a difference in the downtown area, and we love the energy that's taking place. Item number 2 is consideration to approve resolution number 03-30-2017-A, establishing temporary parking restrictions on and the closure of State Route 49, that's Washington Street and Stockton Road, and certain city streets to accommodate the Mother Lode Roundup Parade on May 13th, 2017, and the rodeo on May 13th and 14th, 2017, and authorize the city administrator to execute the Caltrans encroachment permit as a co-sponsor with the Tuolumne County Sheriff's Posse.
Just one comment, Madam Mayor. There's a typo on the agenda. It should be 0320.
0320.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is consistent with the resolution.
All right. Gosh, it doesn't seem like it's time for the Mother Lode Parade already.
Well, you should be on this side. It's not even close. And I had no idea I was going to be on TV, or I might have shaved, let alone changing my clothes. Anyway, this is going to be our 60th annual Mother Lode Roundup Parade and Rodeo since the Sheriff's Posse took it over. And we're looking forward to a stellar event, as always, and through the community efforts and the City of Sonora's partnering with us and helping in many ways. It's gone on, and we very much so appreciate all your efforts, and thank you very much. And hopefully you'll allow us to do it again, since I already sent the entries out.
Something else from the police department.
Good evening again, Madam Mayor, Honorable Council, ladies and gentlemen of the public. It is the Police Department's recommendation to City Council to adopt resolution number 0320-2017-A, authorizing the closure of State Route 49, which is Washington Street and Stockton Road, along with other certain city streets for the 2017 Mother Lode Roundup Parade and Rodeo. As you know, each year the Tuolumne County Sheriff's Posse sponsors the Mother Lode Roundup Parade on the Saturday preceding Mother's Day. This year the parade will be held on Saturday, the 13th of May, 2017, scheduled to begin at 10 a.m. We expect it will conclude around 1 p.m. that same day. The rodeo will be held on Saturday the 13th as well, and also on Sunday the 14th. During the parade on Sunday, no parking will be allowed on the streets between Washington Street and Green Street, and Washington Street and Stewart Streets. This gives participants a secure area to view the parade, plus allow for a safer as well as a more controlled area for pedestrians to travel in following the conclusion of the parade. We'll also be holding traffic for an additional 15 minutes after the parade concludes to allow spectators sufficient time to clear the streets. We will be closing State Route 49, Washington Street and Stockton Road, beginning at 9 a.m. until the conclusion of the parade. Due to the size and duration of the parade, this resolution is required from City Council authorizing a temporary closure of State Route 49, Washington Street, and other specific streets within the city. Do you have any questions of me?
So the streets will be closed at what time?
We are closing the streets at 9 o'clock. With the exception of Restano Way, that will close a little earlier. I'm sorry?
I'm sorry.
9 a.m.?
9 a.m.
Okay.
And with the exception of Restano Way, we'll close a portion of it at 6 a.m. and we'll completely close it at 8 a.m. Everything else we close at 9 a.m.
Okay. And my other question is that at the end of the parade, that the no parking signs will be picked up as soon as possible so people can come and park and shop and enjoy the rest of the day.
Yes, we'll get them going again.
Okay. You've done a great job the last 2 years doing that.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions from the council? No? Okay. Any public comment? And I'll bring it back to the council for a motion.
I'll move we approve 3/20/2017A.
Second.
Any other questions or comments? Any public comment? Then I'll bring it back for a vote. All in favor? Aye. Passes unanimously. Thank you. And thank you for 60 years. I haven't been around here that long, but for 60 years, many people have enjoyed the Motherlode Parade.
I can tell you 57 of them I've enjoyed.
There you go. And you're still here with us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, item number 3 is consideration to approve a recommendation from the Vision Sonora Community Design Committee for improvement modifications to Caulfield Park, including ADA access, lighting, fencing, and the removal of the rock monument. And we'll have a staff report.
Yes, Madam Mayor, members of the council, and the public that's still here. The Vision Sonora Design Committee has been discussing for some time design improvements to Caulfield Park. They have focused on some structural changes down there that would help facilitate the use of the park while they're still considering various other design elements. These items include installing an ADA access at Green Street, removing the existing ADA access and installing fencing and a gate, removing the monument that's in the center of the park, adding some additional lighting at the entrance on Washington Street and lighting the sign, as well as some fencing repairs. As I mentioned, there's other design elements that are being considered, but these, more particularly the removal of the monument and ultimately the installation of a new ADA access, are structural improvements that we want to begin, and with council's approval, we would start that work. The fencing and lighting are things that the Public Works Department will take care of on an ongoing basis. They will also be involved in removal of the monument. The ADA ramp itself will need to be designed, and we'll need to find funding for its construction, so that's likely to be in the budget for next year. But there is an interest in moving forward with removing the monument, doing some of this other work to help facilitate the use by the clubs and organizations that use it for various functions. With the council's approval, we'll still continue working with the Vision Sonora Design Committee. Those things that need to be brought back to the council for approval, some of the design elements that are still being talked about will go through the Parks and Rec Committee and back to the council, but we'll proceed on these items with a favorable recommendation from the council tonight.
Questions, comments by the council?
I've just got a comment about the fountains. You know, what we're looking at removing is that it was the Lions Club who put it up in 1973, right around there, and they've given their endorsement on helping to remove this. So that was, I actually received a phone call about that. So they're willing to help us make our park look newer again.
Both the family that dedicated the property and the club that put up the monument have been advised of what our plans are, and there are in agreement with the work that's being described.
Any other questions? Comments? Any public comment?
Since I'm here. So I'm on the committee that's in the design committee, and I just wanted to tell you that we've been looking at this for a while, and the Vision Sonora plan was a much bigger project than this that we're bringing to you now. This is much more scaled down and reasonable, and the removal of the monument will make the park much more open for everybody, and especially for our events, for our dances, etc. So I hope that you will approve this and we can go forward. We're hoping we can have it done by spring fling, so we can start partying down there. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Then I'll bring it back to the council for a motion.
Madam Mayor, I'll move on staff recommendation on the Caulfield Park improvements with a comment. I was part of a group that had an event down there last year, and the monument was a big impediment to it. It kind of divides the park up, and I think it's, even though it was a nice thought at the time, I think by removing it and taking some of those elements out and put them in somewhere else in the park will really help make that a more viable park. So.
Okay. Second. Any other questions or comments? Any additional public comment? Then I'll bring it back to the council for a vote. All in favor? Aye. Passes unanimously. I also want to comment on the very nice article that was in the Union Democrat on March the 17th. So for the general public, if you'd like to know more about what is happening in the park, you can go online and check it out. And I want to thank Alex, who's in the audience tonight, for writing such a nice article about what the city is trying to do to make it a more pleasurable place, usable space, and a more safe space for residents and visitors. So thank you for that. Item number 4 is consideration to approve a recommendation from the Vision Sonora Tourism, Marketing, and Public Outreach Committee and its branding subcommittee to allocate funds to hire a consultant to assist with the development of a brand for downtown Sonora. And staff report?
Yes, Madam Mayor and members of the council, this item is to authorize funding to secure the services of a consultant to provide assistance to the committee to develop a brand as a part of the marketing strategy for downtown Sonora. Originally, the idea was to try and use volunteers and other resources at no cost to try and develop the brand, and it's we haven't made a lot of progress without some professional help, so the committee has recommended that that some consulting services funding be provided. There is money left in the $5,000 allocation to the marketing committee that can be applied to this activity, and there is additional funds within Fund 374, which is your Downtown Economic Development Fund, if I have the name right, to fund this work. Estimated costs are less than $10,000, and if authorized, the city, I will work with the city attorney on the appropriate way to secure the services that are needed. So with that, I'd be happy to respond to any questions the council may have.
Okay. Any questions by the council or comments?
Go ahead, Mark.
For the edification of both the audience and myself, what does branding entail, and what do we get out of that?
I would defer to the members of the committee to respond because I am not a marketing person.
And I'll defer to George Valero, who has been looking at this for a little while now.
I apologize that I'm not better dressed for this, but...
George, before you start, I'd like to preface this with something that's in the Vision Sonora plan that was approved by the council in 2013. Under tourism promotion and marketing, a recommendation was made to develop a logo and slogan to strengthen historic downtown Sonora's brand. A unified visual concept captured in a logo and message condensed into a slogan or tagline should be developed that represent the essence of downtown and further support historic downtown Sonora as a special, unique destination on its own within the city and region. So this is where the committee started this whole process. Now I'll let you take over.
Quite briefly, branding and marketing are two different elephants in one giant room. But the brand is the identity of Sonora. It is the message that you want delivered through your marketing plan. And it's about building that identity so that you can pull in a larger demographic of consumers so that your downtown continues to grow and cement itself as a destination for individuals throughout this state and country, and even abroad. So I can take any questions that you might have with regards to that. But branding is literally just the identity of Sonora. creating a promise of that identity, and then delivering that message through a marketing plan to different consumers and different demographics abroad and domestically. Specifically domestically, because it's a huge part of our tourist numbers.
George, that saying that Las Vegas has.
Viva Las Vegas? No. What happens in Vegas stays in Las Vegas.
Is that a marketing thing, or is that a tag?
That's more of a tagline that built with community. It was just more of a turn of phrase. It wasn't really something that's anywhere written down, like it's not in a plaque that I can really think of, but I'd be glad to do more, because it's just like with the Big Apple. The Big Apple has its slogan. There's a lot that goes into it, and I know that this city has been hung up on slogans for quite some time. So I've been working with some of my cohorts to help finalize that into something that encompasses all of Sonora within 5 words. And if that works, if I've done my job well, the majority of people in Sonora will be happy with it. And that way, and with that, that message that we deliver with it is substantiated. And everything is well spent, our time and our energy. And at this point, our finances.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Other questions by the council?
Well, there's 5 words in a slogan that I don't know if I need to get in this now or wait until after public discussion, but we have a slogan.
Yeah, Queen of the Southern Mines.
Yeah.
There's also a King of the Northern Mines, but nobody knows who that is.
Well, we live in the, well, this is going to start to become a debate, and I don't want to start.
No. And again, I have been reaching out to the people of the subcommittee to give me ideas of what they're looking for, because I have that long laundry list of slogans that was put into work. And you're right, this might be a topic better left for an office instead of a public forum, but we're targeting people who spend money and people who travel, and that is a younger demographic than currently resides here in Sonora. And what I'm trying to do is market to them, so I'm trying to develop a slogan that works for the citizens of Sonora, but also speaks to a different demographic that doesn't live here in Sonora. And that's where the friction happens. I'm not trying to discredit, change anything. What I want to do is build something that works with this history of this great city. It has to represent both the city, its people, and the message of a better tomorrow, a time well spent, and fun, excitement, and contemporary culture. That's a lot for 5 words, but you can do it.
I'm a little confused. I hear a lot of and I'm doing a lot of stuff. I thought we were looking out to, I'm not sure, George, what your role is in all of this. Because it sounds like you're part of the, or want to be part of the
subcommittee.
Process.
Yes.
So that's where I'm confused.
George is a member of the branding committee at this point. He is volunteering his time to do that. He has reached out further from the subcommittee to everybody else in regards to putting something together. There was a time when we were struggling, as you know, with 100 and some odd suggestions for a branding line, and I was one of the original people against spending money on a branding. Mostly because I heard Angels Camp went through this process and it was an $80,000 process, and I thought that was ridiculous. And so I thought maybe we could do that here locally with volunteers. As it turned out, volunteers, as you know, don't have the commitment that somebody getting paid to do a job does. So George is from New York, been in Tuolumne County and in Sonora for 6 months.
I've been here since October.
and he's a professional in marketing and branding. And so he's been working with us up to this point. But we have, as a committee, decided that we need to really depend on somebody to bring us the professionalism that we were lacking before. As George indicated, we're going to satisfy not everybody with this branding. Being in the Southern Mines, I don't think it's going to go away. I think that's still going to be there. But the downtown is changing. As we speak, it's changing. And we need to change at this time, I think, with a new branding, saying logo, marketing concept, if you want to go that far. We've got an organization in town called Trado Restaurant Corporation. This is a young organization that is really trying to promote downtown Sonora, and with activities actually in downtown Sonora and activities in the fairgrounds that they're working on also. So I think it's appropriate at this point in time that we consider spending the money for a professional to help us through this ordeal. I say ordeal when we've gone through previously, but look forward to moving forward with it.
So, Madam Mayor, if I might, this is simply a request for an allocation of funds. We are not picking a brand this evening. We're not picking a consultant this evening. As Councilmember Segurini indicated, George has been volunteering with the committee. He's certainly welcome to submit a proposal for consideration. But tonight is whether you want to, as a council, make funds available for a professional to assist the Vision Sonora Marketing/Branding Committee, Tourism and Public Outreach Committee, or not. And there are limited funds available, both through what was allocated originally for marketing purposes and some money that's left over in the Fund 374 account.
So our limit is $10,000.
I would not recommend anything higher than that at this point. Not to exceed.
Okay.
Are you done?
I'm done. Yeah,
Right.
I'd like to, if there's any other, people.
I comment. George, I just want to say thank you for volunteering. I remember when I first got to this county too, I jumped right in. It's a neat place to live, being from the East Coast myself also, and it's just a neat place to live, so thank you.
No, you're absolutely welcome. Sonora has proven that my skills are useful, and I'm better off here than I was in New York, so. Again, I will leave my cards and information if you would like to contact me, and if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to come and go over things with you, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments by the council?
And I'll just throw my feelings out there. Normally I was with George, not spending money, but a lot of times when you have a different set of eyes looking at something, those blinders come off. And I know that with retail and restaurant, the blinders come off, and I think this is a good idea. I think it will generate more business for our downtown and for our city.
Anything else from the council? Any public comment?
I'm here again. Okay, so I'm on this committee too, and the branding committee, and we've been working for a really long time on this, but I still think that, it kind of hurts my feelings to think that those of us that have volunteered all this time haven't gotten anywhere. I think we have. We definitely came up with a lot of suggestions that we've told George about, and we've narrowed down that list that we all use. So unless something completely different comes up, we did really help. I do think that having fresh eyes is a good idea, somebody with some professionalism bringing it to, because none of us are really branding people. But I would also like to remind everybody that another project that we have going is trying to complete our bathrooms. And we need a marketing campaign for that, and we need funding for that marketing campaign. So I think we need to not allocate everything we have towards this, but be sure and remember that something needs to be done about earning money for our bathrooms.
Hello, Council. I just had a question. I had a question as far as the ideas that have come up so far as branding for the city. Have they all been made public at all? Have we been able to view them? Has any of the public had a chance to make their opinion of these known in any kind of forum, such as the newspaper or anything local like that, that would allow us to preview the kind of things that they're going to tag us with?
George, you want to answer that, or Tim?
Yeah, there's been some articles in the paper that people have responded to. There was a Facebook poll that was done. That led to, I don't know, several hundred.
140.
140 different suggestions.
140 suggestions.
So to answer your question, yes, there has been, maybe on a limited basis, but has been an opportunity for public comment, and that will be a part of the process going forward, so.
Through the Union Democrat?
I'm not sure what media we'll use,
Yes.
but there will be opportunity for comment.
Okay.
Is your question, was there something in the Union Democrat, or will there be something?
Will there be, so we can actually get a chance to view maybe before it becomes final and put in the public's intake on that?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you,
We're
Tim.
very transparent, and we want the public involved.
Well, I find that a very interesting comment because you've been asked several times to open up the process of Vision Sonora to people who aren't available during the times when you meet. And I believe you had a discussion about meeting times, and you continue to meet during business hours when people are at work. So in my opinion, no. They've been asked formally to do some town hall meetings in the evening so people could come and give their input, and that has not happened, nor has it ever been on the agenda. So once again, I think that Vision Sonora is a vision of a very small group of people, and you're eliminating many more people that I think should be asked first before you decide to spend my money on this, because I don't think you're at a point, quite frankly, where you're ready to spend this kind of money on branding, and there are other things that we could be doing to make our city better that don't cost money, such as we could be cleaning up all the dog poop, we could be cleaning up all the garbage that's all over the street, the recycle bins aren't getting empty. Your first recycle bin was by El Jardín. That has had cardboard in there since September. It's never been emptied, and those things don't cost money. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Then I'll bring it back to the council for a motion.
Madam Mayor, I'll move approval of the recommendation from the Vision Sonora Tourism, Marketing, and Public Outreach Committee.
I'll second that.
Any other questions or comments by the council?
I'm looking at Matt. You look like you're about to say something.
Me, Mark.
Mark, I'm sorry.
The other Matt.
The other Matt, sorry.
I'd just like to thank the public for the comments, and I think branding is a buzzword that a lot of us don't know a great deal about, and this particular instance, I believe that the committee responsible for it has been doing their due diligence, and I will vote in favor of it.
Okay. I have a motion and a second. Any other questions or comments?
You know, we do have a brand, and I think that the marketing, there could be creative marketing be done to use that particular brand and bring it out and sell it to the younger folks. I mean, we live in a city that's rich in history, and that's really what makes us unique to a lot of other places. And I think we should be going that route before we start, looking for other brands to rebrand ourselves. If I personally was to spend this money, I would spend my money on that respect more than I would be looking for a new brand. Newer, brighter, bolder doesn't always fit a good way of marketing yourself, especially when we have that history about us. So, at this point, I really can't support it. Mark?
Okay, if I understand it, a brand will identify with our history and other things that makes Sonora
That's
special.
That's assuming that that kind of brand comes out of the process.
Well, that is
And that,
promotion.
yeah.
This is where
And a lot of the suggestions didn't really do that. Some did, some didn't. So it depends on what all washes out. Depends on how good the person is that gets the contract that does the thing. Yeah. So.
And I think there might be a little bit of a misconception regarding a marketing brand versus what we've had for many, many, many years here in Sonora, and that is Queen of the Southern Mines. This could very easily complement Queen of the Southern Mines, but we won't know what it is that we would ultimately come up with for a marketing brand that everyone that we would use unless we bring someone in.
Well, yeah. I'm sorry, did I cut?
I'm finished.
So I understand that, but like I said, we have something that hasn't been used or marketed very well, and it's certainly in recent past. Why don't we use this money for actual marketing services to kindle that brand and see how that goes? And if it fails, then that's something different down the road. But I'm not so sure that whatever brand you're going to choose is going to markedly change. I guess I'm not confident in that it's all going to work out in the end anyway. Maybe that's part of it. But I think we have a brand. I think that there's ways we could use that, spend the marketing money to use that brand and see what results from that, and then go from there.
Okay. You say we have a brand. What is the brand?
Queen of the Southern Mines. Talks about her history, and there's ways to, to build upon that too.
Madam Mayor, I don't want to speak for all the merchants in downtown Sonora, but I think I can speak for a majority of the merchants in downtown Sonora, that they are excited and enthused and really look forward to moving this branding forward to a new generation of young people coming down to Sonora. They are looking for something new, something that they have not had before, and they're excited about getting all this stuff together. I think branding, you never know if it's going to work or not. A lot of it has to do with the marketing of it afterwards, and that sometimes takes more money to do that also. But as far as getting a professional right now, that's all we're talking about, is getting someone now to put all these thoughts together and try to come up with something that is agreeable to a majority of the folks, both in the merchants and the citizenry. It's tough, as you know. 140 suggestions previously was a lot, but that all came from the public, and so they're interested in what's going on with the city, and I think this will move us even further forward.
Yeah. And I will say a lot of those folks, that post on Facebook said we already have one, and they like the one we have. So, there was that too. So, that's where I'm at.
Okay.
I think we can refresh and renew the same slogan and make it new for some
Okay.
people.
All right. Any other comments? Questions? We have a motion and a second, correct? Any other public comment?
Just say really quick that the committee has been very sensitive to that, and the history of Sonora is really important, and it makes me a little nervous too when we talk about the young people and wanting it to be all sparkly and gold. And I think hopefully that the committee will still be a part of all of that, and will definitely, be sensitive.
Any other public comment?
If this gets approved, what is the next process then?
I'm going to turn that over to Mr. Miller, who will let us know what the process is.
We'll develop an appropriate solicitation of proposals, and then bring back a recommendation to council to hire somebody.
Okay, so it would go out, an RFP would go out, so...
There's different options. There are different options we can use, including obtaining statements of qualifications, qualifying a list, inviting proposals, or we can go through a more formal RFP process. As under the city's policies, I have authority to enter into contracts up to $30,000 for professional services. So we'll go through a selection process. And if there's a simpler process we can use, I'll consult with the city attorney, but we will have to identify a formal process we'll need to go through.
Okay, I just wanted to know.
Okay. Any other public comment? Then I'll bring it back to the council. But before I take the vote, what I'd like to say is that one of the things that we, the city of Sonora, haven't done in the past is a real good job of marketing ourselves. And Queen of the Southern Mines is a very, people are very passionate about it, and as it's been stated, that has been taken into consideration. And there's going to be other opportunities for the public to express their opinion. But we need to come up, we hope that what will happen through the branding process is that it'll help us be able to market ourselves in a consistent pattern so that people remember who we are. If you go out and ask anyone, except those of us who live here, what it is that they remember about us, it may not be Queen of the Southern Mines. It may be historical buildings. It may be gold. It may be entertainment. It may be food. It may be a myriad of things that we are, that we're trying to capture those out there to come and visit us, and those who live here to come and enjoy what it is that we have to offer. So based upon that statement, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
No.
Abstained? We have 4 yes and 1 no.
Just to clear for the record, it was Councilmember Garrett.
Councilmember Garaventa was the no vote from the council. Okay, item J is monthly reports, which were in our packet.
Item 5.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I can see why you wanted this one. I tried to skip over this one, but anyway, item number 5. Consideration to approve an employment agreement amendment to allow the city administrator to cash out additional accrued leave.
Madam Mayor, members of the council, this is a minor contract amendment that would authorize me to cash out up to 2 years of accrued leave, which is could be as many as 12 weeks in a year's time. Currently, the contract allows me to sell back to the city at least 4 weeks and cash out. The purpose in doing that is to reduce the city's future liability. It does require that there be a balance of at least 6 weeks of leave maintained on the book so that I don't exhaust all of my vacation or administrative leave time through a cash out sale. So you have attached a modification to the agreement prepared by the city attorney's office that would implement that change.
Okay. Any questions or comments by the council?
Yeah, I think for the public's knowledge and edification, I'll use a big word, we have had problems, or strong, before even Connie and I and Matt were even on the council, where employees had huge payouts for sick leave at the end, and it was a big, huge budget concern because these things aren't usually budgeted or not budgeted. So what this does is kind of take that lump sum that would come at the end of Mr. Miller's contract and spread that out over the remaining few years, the next couple of years or so, so we don't take such a large one-time hit in the budget, and that results in some catastrophic problem down the road. So I thought I'd let people kind of understand what this is really all about, so at least from my perspective.
Other questions or comments by the council? Okay, any public comment? Then I'll bring it back to the council for a motion.
I move to approve item number 5, consideration to approve an employment agreement amendment to allow the city administrator to cash out additional accrued leave.
I'll second it.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Any other public comment? Then I'll bring it back to the council for a vote. All in favor? Aye. Passes unanimously. Item J is monthly reports, which were included in our packet. Item K is, I guess I should ask if anybody has any public comment about the monthly reports. Item K is the Vision Sonora Committee report, and since I'm the chair of that committee, I will give that report. The Vision Sonora Committee met Thursday, March the 9th, 2017. Those in attendance included City Administrator Tim Miller, Councilmember George Segarini, Supervisor Carl Rodefer, and Councilmember Connie Williams. Absent were Supervisor Sherry Brennan, Community Development Director Rochelle Kellogg, and Tuolumne County Transportation Council Executive Director Darren Grossi. A quorum of the committee was established. There were 2 action items. Number 1 was consideration to recommend to the Sonora City Council to allocate funds to hire a branding consultant. It was decided this needed to be agendized on the March 13th meeting of the Vision Sonora Tourism, Marketing, and Outreach Committee. Item number 2 was consideration to approve the recommended recipients of the April Vision Sonora Awards of Appreciation. The committee agreed the April recipients will be Randolph Holder for the building the Tuolumne County Visitors Bureau just moved into, the Red Church for the steeple reconstruction, Oak Valley Community Bank for the construction of their new bank in the city of Sonora, and McCoy Tire for their addition and upgrade to the exterior of their building on Stockton Road. The remainder of the meeting were committee reports. Connie Williams gave the Community Design Committee report. The committee met on January 31st, February 15th, and March the 7th. All meetings centered on the Caulfield Park facelift design that will be recommended to the City of Sonora Parks and Rec Committee prior to going to the Sonora City Council for approval. The next meeting of the Community Design Committee is scheduled for Tuesday, April 11th at 1:30 p.m. at City Hall. George Segarini stated the Tourism, Marketing, and Outreach Committee was scheduled to meet the following week on Monday, March the 13th. Sherry Brennan was not in attendance to give the Finance and Transportation Committee report. The next meeting was set for Tuesday, March the 14th. The Vision Sonora Committee meeting date has been changed from the 4th Thursday of the month to the 2nd Thursday. The next meeting is scheduled for Monday, April 13th at 9 a.m. at City Hall. End of report. Any questions or comments from the council? Any questions or comments from the public? There's no action on that item. Item L is communications. We have none. Item M is council member and department head reports. So I'll start with department heads. And since we haven't heard from Ms. Calloway yet this evening, I'll start with Ms. Calloway. Do you have anything you'd like to come up and say?
I'm going to stay quiet tonight.
You are? Okay. Fire Chief New, anything this evening?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
And Lieutenant Vanderwill, anything from the police department this evening?
No, nothing tonight.
Okay. Then I'll bring it back up to the council area, and I'll start with city attorney. Do you have anything for this evening for us? All right. Mr. Miller.
Just a reminder that on the 30th of March in the evening, we will be scheduling our second marijuana workshop.
This is the marijuana workshop on March the 30th at
5 o'clock.
At 5 p.m. here in City Hall, or in the council chambers, correct?
That's correct.
All right. Anything else?
Nothing else, Madam Mayor.
Okay. Mary Jane, anything from you?
I have nothing, thank you.
All right, let's see. I'll start on this side tonight. So, Councilmember Hawkins, anything?
Just one small thing. I've had the opportunity the last 2 weeks to walk the Dragoon Gulch Trail, and our Public Works Department has done a really, really nice job in taking care of it, considering the many fallen trees that have went across that trail, and it's been many, and taking care of things so there is little to no erosion on that trail. So a big thank you to them.
Yeah, the people that should be recognized in addition to the Public Works Department is baseline crews for helping us fall and remove a lot of the hazard trees and the brush that's there, and the caretaker that actually resides out at the Cutler property that helps maintain the trail as well. So it's really a team effort, but thanks for I'll pass on the comments to the Public Works Department.
Thank you.
Okay. Councilmember Palmer.
Nothing of interest, thank you.
Okay. Councilmember Garaventa.
Attended the Yes Partnership on during its regular meeting schedule, and they had a presentation from the and I forgot to bring it. It's the Lieutenant Pippin from the Sheriff's Office and Mr. Corallo, I believe, also from their office about drug prevention, and there's a slogan they have. We're speaking of slogans, and I forgot the slogan. And I forgot to bring it, but it was an interesting presentation. It has something to do with getting students away from drugs. And it was a very, and I wish I'd remembered the name of it next time. Let's see, attended the Celtic Fair, pouring beer all 3 nights. You guys, we need some help.
You got good music.
Yes. Oh yeah. So, and attended the Parks and Rec. We had the Parks and Rec committee meeting that I attended for the Coffin Park last Thursday. And I believe that's all I have. Thank you.
So you need help for the Sonora Chamber for people to help in the booth. Is that correct?
Sure.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's.
But we have to be trained.
Not necessarily.
Oh, okay.
Can you count money out?
Sure can.
Can you pour beer?
I think so.
Can you check IDs?
Absolutely.
You're hired.
All right. That's it. It's that easy.
I thought you had to pass ABC